Hey guys, let's get more news from Dallas Cowboys, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Ranking 14 NFL teams by chances of returning to 2024 playoffs. With the NFL preseason in full swing, we are just weeks away from real, competitive professional football. 32 teams have aspirations of advancing to the postseason. After seeing the 3-13-1 Texans jump from anonymous also-rans in 2022 to division champs in a matter of months last season, no franchise is going to be counting itself out in August. Footballs bounce in funny ways, and if a team really landed a few difference-makers in the draft and hired the right coaches during the offseason, it can go from the basement to the penthouse quicker than anybody expects. I'm focusing below on the 14 teams hoping to defend their territory from a year ago. In the first 3 iterations of the 14-team postseason era, about half the teams in a given season have made it back the following year. 7 returned to the playoffs after the 2020 and 2021 seasons, and 8 made it back a year ago. This isn't simply teams at the margins coming up short either. Both top seeds from 2021, the Packers and Titans, missed the playoffs in 2022. Last season the Bengals, who had made it to the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game over the prior 2 seasons, went 9-8 and finished last in the AFC North. Subscribe, The Bill Barnwell Show. I'm going to rank the 14 playoff teams from last season by their chances of returning to the postseason. And perhaps not coincidentally, given the success rate for teams making it back in the brief 14-team era, I believe there's a significant tier gap between the top 7 teams on this list and the bottom 7. It's too simplistic to suggest the 7 most likely teams here will all make it back in and the 7 least likely will miss, given how a quarterback injury or a couple of missed field goals can swing seasons, but just keep that history in mind as I run through these teams. I'll start with the team I believe is most likely to return to the playoffs and work my way down to the least likely. I'm also including odds from the ESPN Football Power Index, FPI, for each team returning to the playoffs, so if you don't agree with my opinions, maybe you'll be more inclined to go along with ESPN's predictive algorithm. Just about everyone agrees where this list should start, right? 1. Kansas City Chiefs. Chances to make the playoffs, 87.1%, FPI's best odds to return to postseason. Why they're number 1, they're still the Chiefs. Some things don't need to be complicated. Picking the reigning back-to-back Super Bowl champions as the likeliest team to advance into the 2025 postseason shouldn't be controversial. With the league's 7th youngest roster a year ago and the majority of their regulars returning, it would be stunning if the Chiefs weren't in the mix come January. They've won the AFC West by an average of 4 games over the past 5 years, so their division races haven't even been close since 2018. Could you argue that the FPI projections are too pessimistic, then, about the chances of Patrick Mahomes and company? History tells us no, and it's possible, though not likely, that everything goes wrong for a team with a Hall of Fame quarterback. The closest comp in terms of early career dominance for Mahomes is Tom Brady, and he missed the playoffs twice in 19 years as the starter in New England. Once was when the Patriots finished 9-7 in 2002, and the other time was when he tore an ACL in Week 1 and missed the rest of the 2008 campaign. 17 times in 19 tries is 89.5%. With the benefit of the added 7th seed and a 17th game to help smooth out variance, the Chiefs should have a better shot of making it to the playoffs each year than Brady and the Patriots did during their run. Even if the unthinkable happened and Andy Reid were forced to turn to backup Carson Wentz early in the season, the league's second-youngest defense would give Kansas City a viable chance of making the playoffs with a reserve under center. 2. San Francisco 49ers. Chances to make the playoffs, 85.6%, FPI's second-best odds. Why they're number 2, Kyle Shanahan can't win with just anyone at quarterback. Brock Purdy's ascension from 7th-round pick to superstar has led to suggestions that Shanahan is capable of taking just about anybody who isn't Josh Johnson and building a playoff team around them at quarterback. Again, history would tell us that's not true. The 49ers went 4-12 in 2018 when Jimmy Garoppolo tore his left ACL early in the season. Even after their trip to the Super Bowl the following season, they went 6-10 during another injury-impacted Garoppolo campaign in 2020. Heck, in 2021, he mostly stayed healthy and the 49ers needed a Trey Lance victory in Week 17 and an overtime win over the Rams in Week 18 just to make the postseason. You could argue that the 49ers have a better roster now than they did in 2020 and 2021, and I might agree with that on paper. In reality, though, training camp isn't off to a great start. Christian McCaffrey is already ruled out for the preseason with a calf injury, and oft-injured backup Elijah Mitchell is banged up too. First-round receiver Ricky Pearsall has been battling a shoulder injury, which is even more pressing given the uncertain status surrounding Brandon Ayuk. Trent Williams is healthy but holding out for guaranteed money, while defensive stars Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga are returning from serious injuries that ended their 2023 seasons, including the torn Achilles the former suffered during the Super Bowl loss. Given the lack of draft capital the 49ers have had to work with after the Lance and McCaffrey trades and the money they've spent on their core of stars around Purdy, this isn't a team blessed with great depth. In the NFC, though, the price of playoff admission isn't quite as high as it would be in the AFC. Barring an injury to Purdy or a cascade of injuries across its core, San Francisco should be back in the postseason for the fourth consecutive season. 3. Baltimore Ravens. Chances to make the playoffs, 78.5%, FPI's fifth best odds. Why they're number 3, they were the best team in the 2023 regular season. At 13-4, the Ravens had the best record of any team before the postseason began. There was little in their underlying performance to suggest 13 wins was a fluke either. They outscored their opposition by nearly 12 points per game. That's the 21st best mark for any team since 1989, and those top 25 teams racked up an average of more than 14 wins per 17 games. With an MVP performance from Lamar Jackson and the league's top-rated scoring defense, Baltimore was dominant until the AFC Championship game. Better offense in 2024, Eagles or Ravens? The First Take crew discuss whether the Eagles or Ravens are better set up to have a successful offense headed into the 2024 season. Unlike the Chiefs and 49ers, though, the Ravens are dealing with a serious talent drain this offseason. 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen are no longer on the roster, while Patrick Queen, Geno Stone and Jadeveon Clowney are gone from their defense. Mike Macdonald, the coordinator who helped propel the defense forward over the past 2 years, is now in Seattle, replaced by a first-time coordinator in former Baltimore linebacker Zach Orr. The Ravens also play in the toughest division in football, an AFC North in which all 4 teams posted a winning record last season. The mothership put together the entire transaction that occurred between reporters and Jerry Jones that ultimately led to the story below the break. Question from Reporter 1, Week 3 of training camp is winding down. Can you envision September 8th coming and CeeDee Lamb not being ready to go? Answer from Jones, well, I don't know about that, but I know that we're getting great work done, making real progress, and I don't think we're losing a step where we are now. Question from Reporter 2, is there a sense of urgency as you begin the preseason to get CeeDee done? Answer from Jones, no. Question from Reporter 2, why do you say that? Answer from Jones, just a long pause. I went to high school. I went to college. I don't know why I said it. I'm just saying. I don't know. Laughing, I don't have a sense of urgency about getting it done. Pick any reason you want. I was at Nobu 2 days ago, give that as a reason. Whatever you want, put it out there. When read in full like that, it hardly seems like Jerry was dismissing the notion of urgency relative to Lamb's current contractual situation. The Dallas Cowboys held joint practices with the Los Angeles Rams on Thursday afternoon, but that will all be forgotten because of 3 simple letters, LOL. Jerry Jones spoke to the media after the joint practice, because of course, and was obviously asked about the current topics surrounding the team, which include the pending extension for Ceedee Lamb. Jerry noted that the matter did not seem to carry urgency for him. The Athletic's John Machota tweeted that Ceedee Lamb saw it, and the wide receiver responded. It should be noted that Micah Parsons was among those who retweeted the original tweet. There appears to be a bit more context to the initial quote, for what it is worth. Jerry Jones on the Ceedee Lamb talks. We're getting great work done and making real progress. I don't think we're losing a step with where we are now. Quick clarification. Question was phrased, is there a sense of urgency as the preseason begins to get something done? Jerry Jones, no. Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that we're getting great work and making good progress, and we're not losing a step in where we are now. As you can see, Jerry notes that progress is being made. The original quote does look rather minimal, so you can imagine how Ceedee may have felt seeing that. Still though, this is clearly not the best sign that you could have surrounding this issue, especially with the regular season a month away. When will it end?